So, Lou Ellerton, you must have been pleased to see the shops finally reopen this week.
Absolutely, it feels like a lifetime since the days of a Saturday shop, and in fact, I haven't actually had the chance to go back in there yet. But I'm very, very pleased that the retailers will finally have a chance to shift some of their stock.
Like you say, it must have felt like a long time.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think anybody has ever, in the business world or otherwise, has ever really envisaged something like this, and certainly not going on for this length of time. It makes the times when we used to complain about a rainy couple of weeks in high shopping season look like bliss.
Yeah, we spoke with a top retail guru on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he was emphasising how much of a struggle it was at the planning stage for things to reopen. But I'll ask you the question that I asked that gentleman on the occasion. How long do you think the retail sector and the economy could have gone on had the decision to reopen not been made?
I think there will always be retailers who will have survived the storm okay, simply because they have deep enough pockets, or their parent companies have deep enough pockets that they would have managed. But we've already seen retailers suffer massively. We've seen Debenhams go into administration. We've seen a number of other stores go into administration. So I think every week that went past, more and more stores would have gone under. And as it is, we still don't know, particularly for a lot of the independent shops, whether their future is actually secure.
And the consultations are ongoing with the government at the moment about whether or not to reduce the social distancing from 2 meters to 1 meter. Would you support the reduction?
I would. But from what I've seen, certainly behaviour in stores from consumers, I think people are ready for the reduction. I think they're prepared to take that trade-off in risk in most cases, because one only has to visit a local supermarket to see how different it is from 6 weeks ago when there really was quite strict behaviour on the part of people shopping. That's now become a lot looser.
In your capacity as a consumer behaviour expert, what did you make of the scenes, particularly here in Birmingham Monday morning, where we pride ourselves in having the world's biggest Primark store, for example? 4:30 on a Monday morning, people almost camping out in order to get into Primark. I kind of flippantly said on the radio that I don't understand it. So for the benefit of myself and those who don't, could you explain that behaviour of people?
Absolutely. I think there were a couple of different possible explanations. I think for a lot of people, it was quite literally the first time that they would have had the chance to be able to replace essential clothing, particularly for parents. There's every possibility that a child will have grown out of existing clothes just within the period of lockdown, and Primark, in that sense, runs an invaluable service for the British High Street, because it allows parents to be able to replace clothes at minimal cost, and equally, of course, for those who have really found themselves struggling financially, it's really important for them to have stores that offer clothing at a price point that they can reach. So I think that was a large part of it. Having said that, do I believe that everybody in that queue was there because they had essential shopping to do? No, I think a lot of people were simply desperate to get out of the house, to have something that felt a little more like a return to normality, and a change of scenery.
Absolutely. And as I say, I personally won't understand it, but a point that was made to me, that when the lockdown began, it was spring, and although the weather suggests otherwise at the moment, it's now summer. So there is that change of, in Primark's example anyway, a change of clothing needed as well.
Absolutely, and in fact, when it started, it may have been spring, but it was not a warm spring.
Certainly wasn't. No.
I vividly remember getting into the car for the first time after driving in lockdown, and still seeing all my winter hat and gloves and the de-icing spray all laid out on the seat from the last time I'd driven it pre-lockdown.
We often see back end of January, early February, where the news coming out and that says how good or bad a Christmas it was for the high streets. When do you suppose we'll see the figures come through, or the analysis of say this first week of trading again for non-essential shops? When do you think they can start to look at or analyse the data that they'll have gathered this week?
I think that data will start coming through pretty quickly. So I think by the beginning of July, we should have a reasonably good view. The difficulty, of course, will be assessing how much this week is indicative of even a short-term forecast, because at the moment things change so rapidly that nobody really knows from one week to the next whether. For example, if sales were halfway decent this week, a lot of retailers will be worrying that was because of the initial burst of enthusiasm once they reopened, and that once it resettles again, and particularly if the R8 climbs at all, they'll see another drop in sales. Of course, it won't be as bad as it was during lockdown, but it could still be significant. Equally, I would hope that there will be a lot of people who haven't yet really returned to the high street who will be intending to do so over the next few weeks. So hopefully this week has seen the seeds of recovery starting, but we've got a long way to go yet.
Do you see the government officially ending their prop up of the sector via either help for small businesses or furlough? They're planning to end that in October. Do you think that will go ahead, or do you think they'll probably still need some more support post-October?
I think they will be doing everything they can to be able to remove that, or certainly to phase it out from the majority of those benefiting from it at the moment, because again, it simply becomes an argument as to how much you can then afford to prop one element of the economy up at the expense of another.
And how good a week has it been finally for yourself getting back into the swing of things, Kantar Consulting and MASH?
It's been pretty good. We've been fortunate enough to be able to advise a lot of our clients on what they should be doing during these very difficult times. But from my point of view, it's lovely to have a chance to observe some consumer behaviour once in a while, rather than within my own four walls.
And just finally, have you been encouraged by the behaviour you've seen expressed by the consumers, or has it been strange in a strange kind of way?
I think it's been very strange. I think it will continue to be strange, although equally, I suspect we'll all be surprised how quickly, if social distancing continues even at 1 metre, I think we'll be surprised by how quickly it comes to seem normal to be shopping in a face mask, or to be social distancing in store. But no, it is a very strange phenomenon. It's not like something we've had before, and it takes quite some getting used to.
Lou Ellerton, retail marketing and consumer behaviour expert, Kantar Consulting and MASH. Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Absolute pleasure.